This is Right Hand Drive, guys. Episode 16. Today we're going to talk about our experience with Albo. A day with Albo, actually.
Yeah, a whole day.
A whole day with the man. So, I had been following Albo for quite a while, and I had noticed that he put up a little advertisement for some experiences he was doing in Japan. Did you ever see that?
No, I didn't. I had heard of him, like, just kind of seeing posts on YouTube and Instagram here and there, but didn't really follow him or anything necessarily at first.
So he had posted about, because if you don't know who Albo is, look him up on Instagram. It's Albo Media, and he currently lives in Japan. He's from Toronto, Canada, and he moved over to Japan. Do you remember how many years ago he said?
I want to say something around 10 years ago.
Yeah, like quite a while. So he had moved there, and he was doing some English teaching, right?
Right.
Yeah, so that seemed a lot of guys that we met.
Common theme with, some people that we met over there is that they went to Japan to teach English.
Yeah, which is pretty cool.
Right.
And so anyways, I had noticed Albo's experience, post like a week before we went to Japan, and I was like, wow, this would be a great way to be able to experience Japan with like a guide, so to speak, that is like, an OG over there as far as, an English speaking guy that's done a lot of stuff.
Right. Definitely made things more comfortable, like going into some of these restaurants or some of these spots. It's like, okay, we got our guy here that understands what's going on.
Track.
Right,
like
right.
He skipped like a bunch of stuff that we would have been hung up on.
Right.
So, I hit up Albo. I booked the experience for a day that we were, had like a down day when we were in Japan. And he, of course, was all about it and was very prompt in making sure that we understood what was going to be going on and where we would meet and whatnot. And so kind of the day came up, and we decided we would stay at a hotel instead of in the camper the night before, so that we weren't all stinky and nasty when we got to meet this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't want our first impression to be smelly and
smelly
greasy.
Americans.
Yeah, so, it was, I believe was it a Thursday or a Saturday?
I believe it was a Thursday.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
And so, we were supposed to meet up at like 9 a.m. at one of our favorite parking areas, Abina. Yeah. So we ended up being kind of late because we underestimated the time it would take.
Right. Golden Week traffic.
Yeah.
Was a pain at some points.
And then he ended up also being late because of the same type of thing.
Right.
And so we ended up meeting up at 10 a.m. At Abina. And then he introduced us to the melon pond.
Right. He said, let's go inside real quick. We'll check out this little bakery. And this place is kind of famous for these sweetbreads, I guess you could say.
Yeah,
and,
I call it that.
Yeah, and it's called a melon pond because it looks like a melon, but it tastes nothing like melon. It's like this sugary, sweet, like, I don't know, kind of like dessert bread, I would say.
Yeah,
but like they eat it all the time.
breakfast.
It's like their favorite snack. It's their, all the kids love it. Like it's, definitely
they
famous
have
for
like
it.
marketing around it and like a little mascot that's one of those like things, but with eyes. And if it is just like, it's pretty wild how they do stuff like that.
Yeah, and it was good too. Like it was, whenever you're biting into something that's green and it's bread, you don't expect it to be like so good and sweet and whatnot, but like it was on point. And I'd already had breakfast, dude, and I was still trying to shove that thing down.
Oh,
it was
me
so
too.
Delicious.
Yeah, I had a bag full of other pastries that I had just gotten before he showed up.
Right.
And then he showed up and said, "Let's go in here," and I end up eating the melon pond instead of all the stuff I had bought.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, no, that was pretty cool. Just he really introduced us to some of the like local stuff that we just would have skipped over.
Right, I would have had no idea, and that's
be like, what the hell is this green bread? I had seen it prior.
Why are there so many people in this line for this green bread? Like, what's going on here? But the way he explained it, it was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. That's pretty cool. That's just like their thing, Americans wait in line for chicken sandwiches. They wait in line for sweetbread. It's it's all good.
Yeah, right. So, yeah, that was pretty cool. I ended up actually in the days following our experience with Albo, I ended up having that like 2 to 3 more times.
Oh yeah, I saw it.
Yeah.
That was the parking area we stayed at, and you every time I was like, I'd look up and you're eating this melon bun. I'm like, all right, dude, I get it. You miss
good.
Albo.
Yeah, it was good though. So, at that point, he was ready to like get it moving, which we were too. We were excited to experience the day, and so he was bringing us over to Hakone to do some toge. That was our first little thing for the day.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't too far of a drive. I honestly can't remember the distance, but I didn't feel like we were on the road for...
It was no more than an hour.
Yeah.
I mean, probably about 30 minutes we started getting into, like, the mountain area.
Yeah.
And then probably another 30 minutes up the mountain, we were, in the heart of the toge, yeah.
Yeah. So, one thing, and see, this is part of having Albo where it's really quite the asset, is he's like, hey, what's your tire pressure at? And I'm like, whatever top rank put it at.
Right.
Yeah.
40 pounds?
Yeah.
And he's like, what does that even mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because they use bar over there.
Yeah, he's used to the bar. So he brings us to a gas station that has, the whole air setup, and, I start checking them, and then all of a sudden the boys show up.
Yeah, there was, you could definitely tell that we were around somewhere where some driving took place, because there was just random cool cars driving by, and specifically when we were at this gas station, a group of Caterhams pulled in. If you don't know what a Caterham is.
What's a catamaran? What is that?
It's like a roadster, like an open wheel 2-seater, like no top, super light car. I'm pretty sure they have some sort of motorcycle engine.
Oh wow.
But yeah, they rip. And these old Japanese dudes, 3 or 4 of them pulled in, and they got semi-slick tires on them, and
yeah, they looked wild.
They've been out for the day already. They've been hitting the toge probably all morning because they were coming down the mountain while we were going up. So it was cool to see that, and you're like, oh, okay, we're actually in like where this shit takes place, and that's like we're in the spot.
Yeah, this is legit. He brought us to like an awesome place, and so yeah, seeing those was really cool. Just like checking out the way that they put them together and how much pride they had.
Right.
You could just tell, like, yeah, they probably just had a blast.
Right, and I've personally never seen that many all together in one place. I might see one or so at a random Cars and Coffee or a picture of one online, but to have like a group of 3 or 4 of them, it's pretty cool to see.
Quite a few, yeah. So, yeah, my tire pressure ended up being like 10 times too high.
Yeah.
My tires were about to pop.
Right.
So we reduced the pressure, made sure we were all fueled up, because he said that typically you use like a tank on the toge. Right. On a good day, you're going to use a full tank of fuel, and you don't want to get caught up there without it.
Right.
So we filled up, and we continued to head up the mountain. I mean, at this point, we're kind of like getting into it, and there's still a decent amount of traffic where we are. We kind of have to wait our turn, slow down so that we have a gap, like all of the things you got to do when there's some traffic. But then we kind of broke through that. I feel like we got to a point where there wasn't much.
Right, and also at the same time, like when we were in those slower spots, when we initially started, he had gave us a walkie-talkie, so we could talk back and forth with him in his car and whatnot. And he would just give us these random facts about things
cool.
throughout the way. Like, for instance, there was a Family Mart that was like at the base of the mountain. And the Family Mart is like a convenience store, and their logo is blue and yellow, or blue and green, rather. And this particular Family Mart, their logo was just straight green because it wanted to blend in with the environment and the surroundings and stuff. And just like little things like that, he would always just, rattle off, and I'm like, that's cool. Like,
he doesn't consider himself a tour guide, but he definitely could be, the way that he knows all these little facts.
Right. It's pretty cool. I'm like, this guy knows. Like he just knows all these cool facts and like little things that most people don't or wouldn't even realize.
Yeah, and if you didn't know him, you wouldn't maybe be missing out on anything, but like it really adds to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, that was pretty cool, and I mean the view following him was pretty sick the whole time because he has, if you don't know him, he has an amazing S2000.
Yeah.
It's like
it's a sick car.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely sweet. He's put a lot of love into it. He got it all stock. Now it's like all decked out.
Right.
And you got to ride in it. So I didn't get to ride in it. So like what was the car like from the inside?
It was a dope experience because it's an S2000 on the toge with some sticky tires, some good suspension, and that thing was hooked up. He was ripping these turns like
you were ripping turds in your pants.
yeah. He was ripping turns. I'm ripping turds, dude. Like, yeah, he was getting it, and like just feeling that and being on the toge and like seeing the sights of the mountain and like the lakes and the views, all while just ripping in this S2000. It was just like kind of like a pinch me moment,
right?
Like,
surreal.
What
like,
is? Yeah, surreal.
I'm here.
Like, yeah. It was so cool, and like the sound of an S2000, you know, at 9K,
all motor.
All motor, just like
yeah.
Just,
for sure. What was it? Was his name? Yeah. No, I mean
VTEC, dude. Like,
right. Yeah. Once you get to experience that, right, it's like not something that I would assume you would forget anytime soon.
Yeah. It was cool.
So we make it up onto the toge, and we made a few stops. Our first stop was like an overlook at Mount Fuji, and kind of wasn't there also like some body of water that we could see at that point?
Not at that point. At that point it was just like fields and just maybe out in the distance. I think it might have been the ocean.
Yeah, like on the left.
Yeah. I think that was the ocean, but yeah, out like way far in the distance you could see Fuji, but it's covered up in clouds. And also they had like this little model of Mount Fuji at the lookout spot, just kind of
pretty cool.
Yeah, it was a good view. It was windy, very windy.
Yeah, it was windy. And if you guys check out our YouTube channel when I post this episode, there will be some video and pictures of these locations, and you'll be able to see it was for sure windy.
But good views.
Yeah, good views. And so he took us on like I don't even know how many runs up and down and around this like toge area, and wasn't this toge area the one from Initial D?
It was one of them. It wasn't. Yeah, it was. I forget which series it was, but yeah, it was definitely a famous one where, you know, some of these animes and stuff had taken place. So that was cool to get that history.
Yeah,
and especially riding in his car when he has like that soundtrack and like that music.
Oh, he was.
Yeah,
that's sweet, dude.
So,
the full package. Wow.
Yeah, it was cool. The dude was jamming out and just loving it, dude. Loving it.
And so for me personally, you know, I'm driving the R34 GTR. My first time driving it more than just like hammering on the wangan or something, you know, like I hadn't really taken turns at a high rate of speed or, you know, at high RPMs or anything like that.
Right.
So it was definitely a little bit of an adjustment for me, but also like you're not doing it alone. You're like, I'm like trying to keep up with this guy, and he like does it all the time. So you know, which it was all good and fine. I didn't crash it, and that was really the big thing.
Dude, you did great. You know, you didn't even cross the yellow line. Like
I didn't even cross the yellow line. Yeah,
that's the main thing there. Like,
but I definitely had some all seasons on there.
Yeah,
I could feel that and hear that. Yeah, so that was still cool, right? Like a little moment of accomplishment where I was able to keep up with a guy who does this all the time. Granted, I'm sure he wasn't like trying to lose me.
Right.
So that's like, maybe the difference.
But still, it was a fun day.
Yeah, it was fun. And
fun time.
So he really was able to give me quite a bit of experience on the toge, and just, made me want more, of course.
Right.
But then we made a little pit stop. I couldn't tell you exactly where it was, like on the mountain, but it was like another overlook, and there was a cool ice cream shop, but there was also the helipad was right there.
Yeah.
Which was sweet.
Yeah, I guess they give helicopter tours or something, and that's where their
take
base
off.
Is
Yeah. So you probably must got to meet them up there, and that's where you leave from. And we kept seeing the helicopter all over the mountain when we were driving around it. It was pretty cool.
And that must have been cool for the people in the helicopter to see us ripping around the mountain as well.
Seriously,
that would be cool.
Like an S2000 and Skyline, like you're just taking this tour, and all of a sudden these guys are just
right.
Yeah.
You can hear them over the helicopter.
Literally, no, I don't know about that, but not with that super quiet, silent exhaust that they put on my car. But
yeah.
But so that was cool, and then he takes us in, and we use the bathroom or whatever, but then he gets us set up so that we are ordering ice cream.
Yeah, milk ice cream.
Milk ice cream.
Milk flavored.
In Japanese.
Yeah.
So, he didn't just let us try to struggle with the English communication. He taught us how to order this in Japanese, and that was like important to him, that we were learning how to do these things.
Yeah.
And not just like struggling through it.
Right. And I love that. Like, that's so cool. Like, teach me how. I want to learn.
Yeah. Okay. So how do you order it again?
Climo.
Climo. Oh, yeah. Un climo.
Un climo. Or something along those lines.
No, we're probably wrong. But still, that was just a cool experience, and really just showed his character as far as, like, where his priorities were at with this experience. It's not just like, all right, hurry up and get these guys through this,
right,
so I can go do what I want.
Right.
It was, let me teach these guys so that they can continue to be successful while they're here.
Right.
Yeah, that was that was cool.
It was good ice cream too.
Yeah, it was. It was super dang.
And then, dude, we walked outside, the sickest NSX.
Yeah, just chilling.
On what wheels? None other than T37s.
Of course, yeah. The only wheels they make in Japan.
Pretty much.
But no, this NSX was definitely sweet, and Albo knew some stuff about it.
Right.
I think it was the owners, he said.
Yeah, something
like
along
that.
those lines. Because I remember seeing pictures of it on the inside of that restaurant as well.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, so ice cream's hot, man.
Yeah.
it's paying for an NSX. Hey. That's dope. But so we checked that bad boy out and kind of got back on the toge and just kind of kept hammering.
Yeah.
Like
just kept on going.
He's like, how about another? How about another?
Right. We would,
holy crap, dude.
It seemed like we'd go up to a spot and then kind of come back down and then go up further and then come back down and then go further and further and then it just kept on going. The turns just kept coming and just...
I feel like I peeled 4 seasons off those things.
Probably close to it, dude. Yeah. Maybe 6.
So it was like... And I don't know, my memory is a little foggy, but was the shrine before the high speed or after the high speed?
It was after.
So he took us on the, kind of, they're not low speed toge, but it's not considered like high speed.
Right,
toge.
it's tight turns, it's 2-lane road, it's pretty tight. Like, only thing that I could really compare it to in America would be like the Tail of the Dragon or something like that.
Yeah, where it's like constant reaction and needing to really be in tune with the car. So then he's like, well, you want to try some high-speed toge? And I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. Why not, right? Yeah. When with Albo.
Right.
Just do it, I guess. So he takes us out.
And it's high speed. It's like top of 4th gear. Like
as
speed.
Fast as you could pretty much go. And so for me, that was a little less comfortable than like the tight stuff, because there's a little bit more room for error, when you're coming as fast as you can up to this corner.
Right.
And don't know what's on the other side of it.
Right.
Yeah.
And just following this other dude.
Who does it all the time.
Right.
But it was still a blast. It was an experience I definitely would not have done on my own.
Right.
Like, I wouldn't have known that stretch was the spot to, like, he's like, all right, let's turn around here. All right, there's no traffic. Hit it. And he like takes off. And I'm like, okay, hey, buddy, wait.
Hits the flashers, takes off.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. So, but again, like, cool experience. And for anyone that was around there right then, that must have been so cool to see, like you said, like these two dope cars just all of a sudden just hammering as fast as they possibly can. Like, I wish we had seen that from the opposite perspective, just to experience it. But so at this point, we were kind of done with the toge. Like, we were there for hours and hours. And we also had made one other stop for, like, coffee and to, like, just to chat and,
get
kind
some
of
Albo stories.
Yeah, and then for him to understand who we are and, like, where we come from and what we do. And so that was a really good experience as far as just being able to get to know each other after literally driving on the toge and, like, hammering, and, like, doing stuff that a lot of times, like, friends would do.
Right.
We're after the fact kind of getting to know each other,
Yeah.
which is maybe the way it should be, right?
Yeah.
Like, hey, if you can keep up with me on the toge, we can chat.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so, this is when it kind of turned to a little bit more traditional Japan, and he really kind of taught us more about the spirituality of the Japanese culture.
Right.
And he took us to a shrine. I honestly cannot remember the name.
I can't either.
Yeah, but
it's right on a lake, though.
Yeah, it was on a it was so cool, but that really doesn't matter. The name of it doesn't matter. It was the experience that we had there. And so we pulled in and we found some parking, and he just started kind of taking us along the different parts of this shrine and explaining them to us.
Right. Like, don't walk in the middle of the walkway. That's for the gods or something like that.
Yeah. Which
like,
I never would have
known.
Side.
Right.
I would have been tromping up and down the middle all day. Yeah. So he kind of just brought us through these different parts and really broke them down for us. And then, so to rewind a little bit, the week prior we had gone to Kyoto and, gone to those shrines, and we saw people giving offerings, but we didn't really understand. Like, we didn't understand exactly what was going on.
Right.
And so when we went to this shrine, Albo really, really broke it down for us and helped us understand what's going on when these people are giving offerings, and then in turn helped us give an offering.
Right.
Which was cool. Which was super cool, because now at this point we're participating in the Japanese, like, religion, quote unquote. I mean, it's not a religion, though, the way that he explained it. So for us to participate where in a place that we, like, didn't know, I don't know, it was just wild. Like, that was, for me, like, just a wild experience to participate like that with Japanese people.
Right. It was super cool. And the way he broke it down, like, made it make sense to me. You know, whereas, like, in America, religion, you have to be religious. Japan, you don't really, or with that religion, you don't necessarily have to be religious.
Yeah.
In that sense.
It's not like this gripping thing.
Right.
Yeah. I thought that was cool too. It really made me see, like, a different perspective on the whole thing.
Right.
Because, like you said, maybe in America, it's like you're either religious or you're not.
Right. And there's, like, a dividing line pretty much.
Yeah.
Whereas over there, it's just like, it's just part of their culture, and it's just this thing you do, but it's not like this overpowering, overbearing thing where you have to be somewhere so many days a week and, like,
give.
Right.
Yeah. No. And so, that was definitely cool to fully take that in and have him there to just, again, guide us, even though he's not a guide, but he guides you for sure.
Yeah.
And so we gave our offerings, which was really sweet, and then we kept it moving, and we walked down to, as you mentioned, it was like a lake, right?
Yeah, little lake area.
Yeah, and he made sure to get our picture, in front of the lake what is it called? The big orange things. The gate.
The gate.
Yeah, there was a gate in front of the lake.
Right.
And so that was really cool. It was like you were walking through the gate to the lake.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he got our picture there. And we kind of just checked everything out, and we're like, hey, let's like keep it moving.
Yeah. Oh, we got the charms too.
Oh yeah, the charms. Go ahead.
We got the charms to protect us in traffic safety.
Traffic safety.
It's these charms you keep in your car and keeps you safe. They had various other ones, that.
Yeah, what'd you get? Come on, spill
I
your
got
guts.
the one for the car. I got one for playing to win, I believe is what the translation. Playing to win, and then the other one was evil spirits.
Oh, you're warding off the evil spirits?
Yeah, had to, you never know.
Is your house haunted?
I think so.
You have that hanging over your bed?
Maybe my car is. I don't know.
Oh, shoot. Yeah, your car probably is haunted.
I got them all stacked up in there, so.
Nice. Yeah, so I grabbed 2 of the traffic safety ones, one for the car in Japan and one for the R33 here. So that was cool because that was what he was like really excited about, was like, oh, did you guys get any charms? What, you didn't get any charms?
Yeah.
Like, we got to get you guys charms,
right.
you know? So that was really cool. And again, just like tied us into the Japanese way of life even more.
Yeah.
Like, it was just one more step of like tying us in. So that felt really good. And so, at this point, we're looking to probably get some food, right?
Oh, yeah. We headed back down the mountain.
Yeah, and that was a sweet view.
Yeah.
Like, it was beautiful. You head back down the mountain, and at one point, you can just see everything.
Right. We were lucky enough to be in traffic at that point.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So we kind of could be slow seeing it. Oh, yeah, I forgot to mention how I made you, like, feel kind of car sick in the toge because I was driving like such a hot boy.
I wasn't going to mention that. I didn't want anyone to take it the wrong way, but yeah, the few rides with Albo smoothed me out, and we were good.
Yeah, I bet. Hey, listen, when you're in an all-wheel drive car from hell, that's what happens. You get sick. But yeah, so we were trying to find some food, and Albo had a few places in mind. The first one ended up, it was going to be like a super long wait.
Yeah, I think it was
hours.
like all you can eat Wagyu or something like that, and it was backed up. So yeah, we headed to the next one, and it happened to be a conveyor belt sushi.
Yep, the conveyor sushi.
It's our first experience with that, and
yeah, well, and see, when we were talking about him, like, kind of cutting time off and all that, like, he walked in there and he knew exactly what to do. He knew how to reserve, everything, right? And it took like no time, whereas if we walked in there for the first time, we literally would have stood there.
Yeah.
And just waited.
I would have no clue, like, what?
Yeah, what do we do here?
What's this screen? Here, let me pull out my Google Translate. Let me read this.
Yes, looked like ding-a-lings, but instead he just kind of cut it all short for us, and that really, again, was like a huge benefit. But so yeah, we're conveyor belt sushi, something we had heard of, hadn't had yet.
Right.
Yeah, and so he was like, yeah, usually me and my homies like try to see how many plates we can eat. And we're like, well, what do you mean? Like, yeah, okay. And this dude was stacking plates up like I had never seen.
Yeah, because you make everything, like, there's just this screen in front of you, and whatever you want, you just click through, and you can just keep going and keep going and keep going. You can just keep ordering.
Stop you.
You can just keep ordering, dude. And yeah, I went pretty hard. There was a few plates where there was like 8 pieces of tuna or something on there, and I ordered 2 or 3 of them because it was just so good. I'm like, yes, another. Yes, another.
Yeah,
like,
it was pretty wild.
Why couldn't I not?
But it was like a good time because, again, like, the guy definitely has a good personality. So
yeah,
and he knows how to make an experience fun, but not like overwhelming, so to speak. So yeah, that was really cool. Our first conveyor belt sushi experience. And yeah, I mean, I think at that one, him and I both ended up with 13 plates or something. Yeah. And you had a few less, but it's because you got the combo plates.
Yeah, the big ones, yeah.
So we're just going to say that we all tied.
Right, yeah. I mean, it was a lot. But, dude, my favorite part was when we went to leave, and the bill was like $20.
Yeah, I know. That was crazy. Like, we're
So
expecting to
insane.
like drop some dough, right? Because all these plates are stacked up, and like
Yeah.
we have no room to eat because there's plates everywhere, and yeah, $20 or so, whatever.
Like,
Maybe 25.
Not much.
Yeah, not much at all. And that was cool because, right, like 3 dudes can go out for whatever $75.
Yeah.
For 3 of them and eat until they're stuffed.
Stuffed.
Yeah, and so the cool part with Albo is that wasn't it. It wasn't over. At that point, he's like, "Hey, you want to go to Big Bang and drive some drift carts?" And we're like,
Sure.
"Yeah, we were there last week. Let's hit it."
Yeah.
Like maybe we got enough practice that we'll be able to like keep up with you.
Yeah.
And so, hey, much love to Albo, but I gotta be real. We went and it was a blast. There was not any time that it was not fun.
Oh yeah, it was 100% fun. We were in the janky carts for sure.
Oh yeah, and if you listen to an earlier episode, you'll hear about the Americana and how they still have 15-inch tube TVs like on
pictures
the ceiling.
of Ricky Rudd on the wall.
Yeah, Ricky Rudd and Rusty Wallace or whatever. Yeah, and so we get out on the track and like I said, I'm like, all right, maybe we're gonna be able to keep up with Albo because just seeing his driving on the toge, he's a friggin' toge master.
Yeah.
But we get out there and he must have had the cart that just the wheel was on backwards or something.
I think he did.
Yeah,
he definitely did.
Because listen, Albo is not joining any drift cart leagues. I promise you that. He's got some work to do, but we all do. But I just found him spinning out every few seconds.
It was a good time though.
Yeah, for sure. And he made it all fun. It's not like because he was spinning out, he was being salty.
We were
or
making
anything.
bets on sodas and stuff.
Yeah, and we made a bet where it's like, hey, whoever loses this race buys everybody a drink, and not alcoholic, strictly like CC lemons and teas and stuff, So
Took
we're
to
like
the bank on that
yeah,
one.
oh yeah, we did, dude. He had to spend everything in his pocket, dude. We ran a train on him. No, but we did. We beat him, and it was it was just funny because we teased him, and he could take a joke, which is cool,
I was like, "What is this? Your first time there, Albo? Like, what's going on?"
He's
like, "Oh no, I've been here before. Hey, come on."
Yeah, no, it was cool, but we had a blast, and we did like 5 races or something, and at that point we were like, oh well, there's probably not much here to do,
right?
And he's like, no, let's go upstairs to the batting cages. And we were like, huh?
Haven't swung a bat since I was playing T-ball.
Yeah, no doubt. And so we're like, yeah, okay, and we go up there and pretty cool setup, but there's 1 cage per speed. And
didn't really realize until after the fact, huh?
And all 3 of us really needed like the lowest speed, but I was like, oh, I'll jump in the second one, whatever. And that one's like 90 something miles an hour.
Kilometers.
I don't know.
Still
it's
fast.
Way faster than I'm hitting anything. So I'm like swinging my shoulders out, just trying to connect with one of these.
Seriously, me too.
But it was cool because, again, it was something that we hadn't done before that we now had done, right?
Yeah.
And he like introduced us to that instead of just moving on to the next thing. He took it one more step, which, again, like his experience is awesome because he does little things like that.
Right. And he like definitely packs it all in, dude.
Oh,
it's cool.
Yeah, like there's like, it's weird because there's like time to hang out, but like not a bunch of time to hang out. So like it's a great mix,
right?
And it was never lack of something to talk about because we didn't just sit around and talk the whole time,
right?
So, we finished up throwing our shoulders out, and at that point we had thought about we were gonna go to Daikoku,
right? But it had got shut down.
And he had gotten a message from someone that had said, hey, it was just shut down. And I can remember that was at like 9:44 p.m. or something, right?
Yeah. Mind you, the camper's still parked there.
Yeah, the camper's still parked there, which you'll hear in the last episode about how all that happened. But, it's 9:44, and I'm like, oh, man, like, all right, well, this guy's probably going to shut it down.
Yeah.
Like, it's 9:44. We've been going at this since, 9 whatever a.m.,
Yeah.
12 hours, like, decent, right?
Yeah. It was all day affair.
All day. And then he's like, hey, like, you want to hit the C1 loop?
Yeah.
And I'm like, the C1 loop? Like, what? What's that? Like, I'm like, I don't know, And he's like, oh, it's like a high-speed loop through downtown Tokyo.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah.
Right. And if you play Gran Turismo, Special Stage Route 5 is modeled after the C1 loop. And I could definitely see that riding around the place.
Yeah, just going through downtown, like in between all the buildings.
Right.
Like,
and through these tunnels and like through these like
yeah.
interchanges and stuff. It was cool.
Yeah, and for sure, again,
especially at night.
Check out the YouTube channel because I have videos of us going through this that I'll put over the podcast so you can see them.
Yeah.
So we hit the C1 loop. It's like high speed. He gives us a heads up where all of the cameras are.
Right.
It was like set up. It was cool. We did like a bunch of runs through there, like 4 or 5 laps around the C1 loop.
Yeah.
And then we pulled over underneath like this bridge. And, at this point it's like 11 something.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, we kind of did everything. Like, like he wasn't really like necessarily trying to end it, but also didn't want to overdo it on our behalf.
Right.
So it was like really cool. Like, again, like I hate to overuse the word, but it was like super surreal at the end. Like both of our cars sitting under this bridge with the 4-ways on, with us just chatting, taking some photos and like saying thank you, because he really did like put in a ton of effort, and by the end of it, like we just felt like friends. It just felt like the homie.
Yeah. It was cool. He's such a cool dude, and his experience over there is, dude, second to none. I mean, in my eyes, because I don't see anyone else really offering that type of experience, especially
not so
that,
personal.
Like, right, that's the thing, like personal with him, and like just showing you all the little secrets, pretty much.
Yeah, exactly, and so the education was worth it, let alone the experience. Just because I left that feeling a little tiny bit more integrated into the Japanese culture.
Yeah. Absolutely. So did I.
Yeah. So if you're going to Japan, hit up Albo, see what his schedule is, see if he can fit you in. You definitely will not regret it. No, it's not free, but it's well worth it.
Yeah.
The money that you spend you could not spend the same amount of money anywhere else in our experience and get that same type of like care and personability, like the whole thing.
Right. Yeah. I mean, if you're into the Japanese car culture and like you're into that, it's well worth it. Yeah. Especially if you can't speak Japanese.
Yeah. Because that alone, like you got your personal translator.
Right. That alone was like, okay, this dude knows everything. Or, in that sense, he knows he can talk to anyone. He can read all this stuff. Like
it was
well worth it.
On point. And we just want to make sure we say thank you, Albo, and we look forward to next time.
Absolutely.
Getting back together. I know he is about to have his first child. Congratulations to him.
Congrats.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, this pretty much wraps up episode 16 of the Right Hand Drive Guys, A Day with Albo.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All right. I'm Bobby. This is Aaron.
See ya.
Adios.